dries on.
Hey y'all, Joefer here, the Cranky Old Gay Guy.
A handshake in the
It's
halls
Thursday,
of power.
May something, 20th, 28th, 29th, something like that, 2025. It's raining outside. So yeah, it's a miserable, foggy day for me. My eyes and everything is because it's gloomy, put it that way. But that's not what made me cranky. What made me cranky was I read the news this morning. And I don't know if you're aware of who Todd Chrisley is. I think it's Todd and Joanne. They had a reality show on TLC, Chrisley Knows Best. And he's this rather dandy acting and looking fellow with far too much makeup and Botox and hair that's so stiff it doesn't move. And I want to say they were in the Atlanta area. I don't know what he did for a living. I want to say real estate again, but then again, I don't know because I never really watched the show. It was just bits here and there. And in like 2019 or 2020, he and his wife were both charged and then convicted of bank fraud and tax evasion. And they had embezzled or defrauded banks by up to $30 million to live their extravagant lifestyle. TLC or whatever reality channel wasn't paying them enough to live the way they were living. So anyway, they were found guilty and they went to prison. He was sentenced for 12 years and she was sentenced for 7. Now, when I say he went to prison, he went to what's considered a cushy prison. He went to a federal prison in Pensacola, Florida, which is pretty much for white-collar crimes. And I did look it up. Let me see if I can tell you what the name is. Not that this is that important, but, just so you know. Let's see. He went to incarcerated at FPC Pensacola, a minimum security federal prison camp in Florida. Cushy Prison, FPC Pensacola, is known as a more comfortable prison, often housing individuals convicted of white-collar crimes. And I believe his wife went to one, I think, in Kentucky. Similar. Okay, so I get up and I find out this morning that our president, Donald Trump, has pardoned both he and his wife. Why? Well, according to Chrisley's lawyer, the reason they were pardoned is because they feel that the Department of Justice or FBI, I think a Department of Justice, had investigated them 10 years prior and done nothing. But then when they became rich and famous on a reality show and became celebrities, and because they looked a certain way, that the Department of Justice came after them and convicted them and put them in jail. Well, for that reason, Donald Trump has pardoned them. Why? Because they were unfairly gone after, as opposed to convicting them just because they're guilty. They didn't convict them because of that. They convicted them because they are rich, they're white, and they're celebrities. And I don't know this for a fact, but having watched the show, bits and pieces here and there, and reading about them over the years, they were conservatives and supported the Republican Party. I don't know if that had anything to do with it. I don't know if there was some behind-the-scenes money transactions going on. I don't know if one of the president's benefactors or sponsors or contributors said, hey, I'm going to give you this much money. You really should let these people out because, they would be good for you, showing that you care about those kind of people. That's just my thought on that. So anyway, it made me cranky because if I was in the same boat and I had defrauded banks out of $30 million and evaded taxes and been convicted and sentenced to 12 years in prison, I highly doubt that the president would give me a pardon. Why? Well, I'm too liberal. I'm not a Republican. I don't have enough Botox. I'm not a celebrity, even a pseudo-celebrity like the TV reality shows. those stars are. And yeah, it just makes me cranky that everyone's not treated the same way. And his lawyers said, or lawyer, I watched an interview, stated that a lot of people do these same crimes and they're never sent to prison. So my client was, but it's just because he's a white guy and he's a celebrity. I don't know if that's true or not, but it doesn't change the fact that he still committed the crime. And since he was pardoned, the question came up from a reporter, well, what happens now? Well, his record is expunged, so he has no violations against him, which means he doesn't have to pay anything back. I don't know if that leaves him open for a civil suit by someone that he defrauded or not, but right now, because he has a federal pardon, it's as if none of this ever happened. And all the money that they took and stored away, I guess they can have access to it. And if it's hidden and the government hasn't gotten it back yet, then it's theirs because officially now they have committed no crimes. And again, I don't see that happening to me or you or most of the people in this country, unless they have some kind of a wealthy connection in the background. I don't see them getting pardons either. And that's what made me cranky today. I know this was a little political. I don't think it was too political, but in the grand scheme of things, Todd Chrisley and what happens to him absolutely has no effect on me, period. However, the principle behind it does, because I could go to jail for something tomorrow and as a federal crime. And I can almost absolutely guarantee there's no way in the world that President Donald Trump would give me a pardon. That's what I'm getting at. When other presidents give pardons, it's because DNA evidence has shown that they didn't really commit the crime. Or they were put in prison for 85 years and they've served 60 and they've been rehabilitated and they've done their time. Todd Chrisley, on the other hand, hasn't. Yet that's the person that he pardons. How about the person who did the same thing but has been in prison for 80 or 90% of the term that they were scheduled? They were given 10 years. Let's say they've been in 8. He pardons them on year 8. He still gets all the publicity, but they've served at least most of their time. In this situation, I believe Todd Chrisley served 2 years. And his wife, 2 years. It just makes me cranky. And it doesn't matter who the president is at this moment in time doing the pardon. The fact that they still did the crime, they have not done the time, they are not paying it back, and that if he grants a pardon to them, why isn't he pardoning everyone in that same category that have done the same thing? I understand presidential pardons are important and they should be used, again, strategically. And I'm sure this is something to do, this is strategic. He's doing it because of what it's going to give him or his voter base in the future. It's going to impact that. But I don't think it's being used appropriately. In the past, when pardons are given, again, it's because someone's been proven that they haven't actually done the crime or that they've been rehabilitated. That's not the case in this situation. This is all who you know, what you look like, and it screams racism. Not saying it's racist, but it screams that way to me because these are chalky, white, Southern, we're Christian, we're Republican, totally fake plastic people that he has glommed onto and is pulling out of prison. Go ahead and let me know your thoughts on this issue. It makes me cranky. Again, how does it affect me personally? This one case doesn't, but the fact that it's done does affect me because, again, the same thing wouldn't happen to me and it probably wouldn't happen for you either. All right, I'm going to let you all go. Oh, gosh, I should probably say on that note, what note would you like to hear today? G. Let's try a G. G. On that note, I'm going to let you go. Remember, everyone, stay cranky, my friends. Stay cranky. See ya.
The ink dries on another name, a handshake in the halls of power. The guilty walk, they feel no shame, their sentence gone in midnight hour. A suit, a tie, a life of ease, a crime that barely left a stain. But down the road the other pleads, a prison cell, a broken chain. Oh, the scales don't balance, the weight ain't fair. Some rise freely, some stay there. Justice whispers but never speaks, for those with skin too dark to see. A mother prays, a child waits. The years stack high upon their back, but mercy bows to wealth and fate. The pardon's ink stays cold and black. What of the ones who never lied, but fought to live, no chance to hide? Their names won't shine in golden pens, just numbers lost to bars and ends. Oh, the scales don't balance, the weight ain't fair. Some rise freely, some stay there. Justice whispers but never speaks, for those with skin too dark to seek. The song rings out, the night stands still, a cry unanswered echoes shrill, until the day the tides will turn and justice stands for all who yearn.